Innocent settlement. The morning sun cast long shadows across the peaceful farming colony of New Eden. Children ran through the wheat fields, their laughter echoing across the rolling hills. Marcus Webb, a simple agricultural engineer, wiped his hands on his worn overalls as he checked the irrigation systems. The colony had been established 3 years ago on the remote planet of Kepler 442b, far from the main trade routes and military installations. To any observer, New Eden appeared utterly harmless. The colonists grew crops, raised livestock, and lived quiet lives. Their technology seemed outdated, their weapons non-existent. The colony's communication array was old and unreliable, often cutting out for days at a time. Governor Patricia Voss, a former school teacher, ran the settlement with gentle authority, organizing community meetings and harvest festivals. What the galaxy didn't know was that New Eden was humanity's most carefully crafted deception. Every colonist had been hand-selected from Earth's most elite military units. Marcus Webb wasn't just a farmer, he was a former Special Forces demolitions expert. The children running through the fields were the offspring of intelligence operatives and combat veterans. Even the elderly residents, like 78-year-old Thomas Harkwell, who spent his days whittling wood on his porch, had once commanded starships in humanity's border conflicts. The Zephyrian Empire had been watching humanity's expansion with growing irritation. These soft, primitive beings had somehow managed to establish colonies across 12 systems, but they posed no real threat. Their military was scattered, their technology inferior. The Zephyrians had conquered 47 species across the galaxy, and humans would be an easy addition to their empire. When Zephyrian scout ships detected New Eden's weak defenses and isolated position, they saw the perfect opportunity. A quick strike would demonstrate humanity's helplessness to the galaxy and discourage other species from resisting Zephyrian rule. The colony's inhabitants would serve as examples of what happened to those who dared occupy worlds the Empire desired. Commander Vextar assembled a full invasion force for what he considered a routine pacification mission. 12 assault ships, 300 warriors, and enough firepower to level a small city. It was massive overkill for a farming colony, but the Zephyrians believed in making statements. As the invasion fleet approached Kepler 442b, Marcus Webb received a coded transmission on his private channel. The message was simple: harvest time. He smiled grimly and began activating hidden systems throughout the colony. Beneath the farmland, concealed weapons platforms hummed to life. The irrigation channels revealed themselves as sophisticated sensor networks. The grain silos opened to reveal missile batteries that had been disguised for 3 years. The trap was set, and humanity's enemies were about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating the quiet ones. The Jaws, close to Zephyrian warships, descended through New Eden's atmosphere like metallic thunderclouds. Commander Vextar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Crimson Talon, watching the peaceful colony spread out below. Thermal scans showed exactly what intelligence had predicted: scattered heat signatures from primitive dwellings, slow-moving agricultural vehicles, and absolutely no military installations. "Begin the demonstration," Vextar commanded, his reptilian features twisted in cruel anticipation. The first strike targeted the colony's communication array. A brilliant beam of plasma reduced the tower to molten slag, cutting New Eden off from any hope of calling for help. The second volley destroyed what appeared to be the colony's power grid, plunging several buildings into darkness. On the ground, the colonists seemed to panic. Figures ran between buildings, some carrying children, others gathering possessions. It was exactly the chaos the Zephyrians expected from a defenseless population. Marcus Webb watched the attack from his command bunker, hidden beneath what appeared to be a simple barn. The real communication array was buried 50 meters underground, already transmitting tactical data to Earth Command. The destroyed power grid had been a decoy. The colony's true power source was a fusion reactor concealed in the hillside. Phase 1 complete, Marcus reported to his team. They're taking the bait. The Zephyrian ground forces landed in the colony's main square, their powered armor gleaming in the afternoon sun. Lieutenant Colonel Zikra, second in command, led the advance team. They moved with the casual confidence of predators, approaching wounded prey. Secure the population center, Zikra ordered. Standard intimidation protocol. The first sign that something was wrong came when the Zephyrians tried to enter the community center. The building's doors, which had appeared to be simple wood, suddenly revealed themselves as reinforced battle steel. Security protocols engaged, sealing the structure against assault. Before the aliens could react, the ground beneath their feet began to shift. What they had taken for decorative stone walkways were actually concealed platforms. Hidden mechanisms. Activated, repositioning the Zephyrians into perfect kill zones. Thomas Hartwell, the elderly wood carver, stood up from his porch rocker. His gnarled hands moved with surprising speed as he pulled a high-powered rifle from beneath his blanket. The weapon was a masterpiece of human engineering, designed to penetrate even the most advanced armor. "Welcome to New Eden," he said quietly. Taking aim, the first shot punched through Lieutenant Colonel Zikra's helmet, dropping him instantly. Chaos erupted as the Zephyrian forces realized they were not facing helpless farmers, but seasoned warriors, who had been waiting for this moment. From hidden positions throughout the colony, humanity's defenders opened fire. The wheat fields erupted with muzzle flashes as concealed snipers began picking off the invaders. The children who had been playing in the fields moments before were now safely in underground bunkers. While their parents executed a battle plan they had rehearsed countless times, Commander Vextar watched in horror as his ground forces were systematically eliminated. These weren't random attacks. They were coordinated, professional, and devastatingly effective. The humans weren't running in panic. They were fighting back with military precision. How is this possible? He hissed. His question would soon be answered in the most terrifying way imaginable. He hidden truth aboard the Crimson Talon. Alarms began blaring as the ship's sensors detected massive energy signatures erupting from the colony's surface. Commander Vextar stared at the tactical display in disbelief. The peaceful farming settlement was transforming before his eyes into a fortress of incredible sophistication. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we're detecting multiple targeting locks from the surface. Energy signatures are ... impossible. These readings suggest military-grade installations." What the Zephyrians didn't understand was that New Eden had been built as the ultimate honeypot. For 3 years, Earth's military had carefully cultivated the appearance of vulnerability while secretly constructing one of the most advanced defensive networks in human space. Marcus Webb emerged from his command bunker as the colony's true nature revealed itself. The grain silos split open like blooming flowers, revealing missile batteries equipped with the latest human technology. The irrigation channels became transit tubes for autonomous defense drones. Even the farm animals were revealed to be sophisticated. Surveillance units, their biological forms concealing advanced sensors. "Target the command ship," Marcus ordered. Patricia Voss, who had played the role of gentle governor so convincingly, was actually Admiral Patricia Voss, one of Earth's most decorated military commanders. She stood in the colony's true command center, an underground facility that rivaled anything in the human fleet. "All stations, this is Vess," she announced. "Execute Protocol 7. Show them what happens when they threaten human civilians." The surface-to-space missile batteries opened fire with devastating precision. The Zephyrian fleet, caught completely off guard, scrambled to raise their shields. But the humans had been studying Zephyrian technology for years through captured equipment from border skirmishes. Every shot was calculated to exploit known weaknesses in their defensive systems. The escort ship Void Striker was the first to fall. A spread of plasma torpedoes penetrated its shields and detonated against the hull. The explosion was visible from the surface, a brief star that marked the end of 50 Zephyrian lives. Impossible, Vexstar breathed. Intelligence reports indicated no military presence. How did they hide installations of this magnitude? The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. James Reeves, the colony's supposed agricultural scientist, peered on the Zephyrian communication channels. His image was broadcast directly to their command bridge, bypassing their security protocols with contemptuous ease. "Commander Vexstar," Reeves said, his voice calm and professional. "I am Dr. James Reeves, Director of Earth's Deception Warfare Division. What you're experiencing is the result of 3 years of careful preparation. Every aspect of this colony was designed to appear harmless while concealing our true capabilities." The doctor gestured to a holographic display showing the colony's real layout. "The farms are hydroponic facilities designed to support a military garrison. The power grid you destroyed was a decoy. Our real power source is a fusion reactor built into the mountain. The communication tower you targeted was purely for show. Our actual communications array is hardened against orbital bombardment." Vexstar's claws scraped against his command chair. "You dare mock the Zephyrian Empire?" "I'm educating you," Reeves replied. "You see, humanity has been preparing for this war far longer than you realize. We've studied your tactics, your technology, your psychology. We know exactly how you think, how you fight, and how you die." As if to emphasize his point, another Zephyrian ship exploded in the distance, its hull cracked open by a precisely targeted missile strike. "This colony is just one of 47 identical installations throughout human space," Reeves continued. "Each one appears to be a helpless farming settlement. Each one is actually a military fortress capable of destroying a fleet." The true magnitude of humanity's deception was becoming clear. The price of arrogance, the Zephyrian fleet was in full retreat. But the humans weren't finished with their demonstration. From hidden launch bays throughout the colony, fighter squadrons emerged like angry wasps. These weren't the crude atmospheric craft the Zephyrians had expected, but cutting-edge space, superiority fighters equipped with technology that shouldn't have existed on a backwater colony. Commander Vexstar watched, his tactical display with growing horror, as human fighters systematically hunted down his remaining ships. The pilots flew with a precision that spoke of years of training, not the desperate improvisation of farmers defending their homes. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "we're receiving surrender requests from the transport ships. The humans are ... offering terms." "Terms?" Vexstar snarled. "We are the Zephyrian Empire. We don't negotiate with primitives." His defiance was answered by another explosion as the heavy cruiser Bone Crusher was torn apart by a coordinated fighter assault. The message was clear. Humanity held all the cards in this engagement. On the surface, Marcus Webb coordinated the battle with the calm efficiency of a master chess player. Every move had been planned, every contingency accounted for. The Zephyrians had walked into a trap that had been 3 years in the making. "Jameson, report," Marcus called to his communications specialist. Former Navy Lieutenant Robert Jameson, who had spent the last 3 years posing as the colony's postal clerk, looked up from his sophisticated communications array. "Earth Command confirms receipt of all tactical data. The other colonies are activating their defenses. Admiral Harrison sends his compliments on the successful field test." The successful field test. That's all this was to Earth Command, a test of their new deception doctrine. The Zephyrians had provided the perfect opportunity to demonstrate humanity's true capabilities to the galaxy dot above them. The Crimson Talon made a desperate attempt to reach orbital jump distance. But the humans had prepared for that too. A network of gravity mines, disguised as orbital debris, activated around the fleeing ship. The artificial gravity fields prevented the Zephyrian flagship from achieving the velocity needed for faster than light. "Travel, Commander," came a new voice over the communication channel. This time it was Admiral Patricia Voss herself, her image appearing on the Zephyrian command reach. "I'm offering you one chance to surrender. Your fleet is destroyed. Your ground forces are eliminated, and you have no hope of escape." Vexstar's reptilian eyes blazed with fury. "You think this changes anything? The Empire will send 100 fleets to avenge this defeat. Will they?" Voss asked calmly. "Because right now, 46 other helpless colonies are broadcasting the same message to approaching Zephyrian forces. Your Empire is about to learn that every human settlement you've targeted is actually a military installation in disguise." The psychological impact of the revelation was devastating. The Zephyrians had built their empire on the assumption that they could identify and neutralize military threats. But if every human colony was potentially a fortress, if every farmer might be a soldier, then the Empire's entire strategic doctrine was obsolete. "You have 30 seconds to decide," Voss continued. "Surrender now, and your crew lives. Continue to resist, and become another object lesson in why you should never underestimate humanity." The choice was no choice at all. Commander Vexstar, his pride shattered along with his fleet, gave the order to surrender. The Zephyrian Empire's first defeat at human hands was complete. The new reality, the aftermath of the Battle of New Eden, reverberated throughout the galaxy. Within hours, recordings of the engagement were being broadcast on every news network, showing the systematic destruction of a Zephyrian fleet by what had appeared to be a defenseless farming colony. Marcus Webb stood in the colony's main square, watching his human recovery teams process the wreckage of the Zephyrian ground forces. The deception was over. There was no point in maintaining the facade anymore. New Eden would be revealed as what it truly was: a military installation of the highest order. "Sir," called Captain Lisa Morrison, formerly the colony's schoolteacher, now revealed as the settlement's intelligence officer, "we're receiving communications from Zephyrian High Command. They're requesting immediate negotiations." Marcus nodded grimly. The Empire had built its reputation on swift, overwhelming victories against inferior opponents. The humiliation of losing an entire fleet to a supposed colony of farmers had shattered theirs. Image of invincibility. Admiral Voss emerged from the Command Center, her uniform now proudly displaying the insignia that had been hidden for 3 years. "Earth Command reports that 17 Zephyrian fleets have withdrawn from human space. The other colonial installations are standing down from combat alert." The psychological warfare had worked perfectly. By demonstrating that any human settlement might be a disguised military base, Earth had forced the Zephyrians to treat every human colony as a potential threat. The Empire's resources were spread too thin to assault every human world simultaneously, and they couldn't know which ones were real targets and which were traps. Dr. James Reeves approached, carrying a datapad filled with intelligence gathered from the captured Zephyrian equipment. "The enemy technology is impressive, but not superior to our own. They've relied on intimidation and numerical superiority rather than innovation. That's going to be their downfall." Thomas Hartwell, the elderly sniper, sat back down in his rocking chair and resumed his whittling. To any observer, he once again appeared to be nothing more than a harmless old man. But the Zephyrian bodies around his porch told a different story. "Think they'll try again?" he asked Marcus. "Eventually," Marcus replied, "but not for a while. They need to figure out which of our colonies are real settlements and which are military bases. That's going to take years of intelligence gathering, and we'll be ready for them." The true genius of the New Eden stratagem wasn't just the successful defense, it was the uncertainty it created. Every human settlement was now a potential threat in Zephyrian eyes. Every farmer might be a soldier. Every school might be a command center. Every grain silo might be a missile battery dot as news of the victory spread throughout human space. Other species began to take notice. The Zephyrian Empire had seemed unstoppable, but humanity had proven that even the mightiest predator could be trapped by prey. That was smarter and more patient. The children of New Eden emerged from their bunkers, ready to resume their interrupted play. But they were no longer just children. They were the next generation of humanity's defenders. Raised in a world where vigilance and deception were the keys to survival. The galaxy had learned a harsh lesson about underestimating humanity. Quiet ones, the peaceful ones, the ones who seemed harmless, they were often the most dangerous of all. And in the depths of space, 46 other colonies continued their charade, waiting patiently for the next enemy to make the mistake of considering them easy prey. The trap was reset, and humanity was ready.